People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in. Fridays equals Q&A days. We know there isn't much going on in the footballing world beyond just tabloid talk and obviously talk really of when the football does get, you know, back on track worldwide. There isn't much to speak about. So I really thank you lot for still coming hard and asking me questions and keeping this thing afloat. Because I thought this week, when I was looking initially at the questions and stuff, it was looking a bit bleak, people. And you lot came through for me. I was thinking, boy, you might have to just scrap this one, innit? It's looking like a hell. No one's asked that. And I see like 2 questions. And I still would have come and answered 2 questions. But it would have been a bit embarrassing. But like I said, you lot came through, people, man. So let's move on. Or better yet, start with the questions. Let's start with the Twitter ones. There isn't many, but you know, big up to the 1, 2. Sorry, my maths is poor. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 people who came through, regardless. Anyways, I'm sure there was more than that, but it is what it is. Mr. DJ, who's been supporting my team from the start, one of the first people who ever bought a Deluded piece of merchandise. I'll never forget you, bro. You've said, with the season possibly being restarted late, should the FA scrap the FA Cup this season and just divide the prize money and donate it to lower clubs struggling financially right now instead? The way you've put it, of course, man, I think that's something that could be done, and I hope there's all different schemes that clubs, particularly the ones more in need, can utilise. And I don't know how it would work, bro, because it doesn't even look like they know fully what they want to do with the league. The latest rumour I've seen is that they're open to playing the Premier League in China now. I know China have done a good thing now, but ain't that where this thing started? So this shows me that there's not really much planning. Because if I was a footballer, if a disease did start somewhere, I wouldn't really want to go there until there's a cure worldwide sort of thing. So it implies that we don't know. You know, you're seeing UEFA put pressure on leagues that, you know, you might miss out on money, you might miss out on spots. I've seen when the league does restart, or the Champions League and Europa, you don't do that. Specifically to the league, I would like to see the FA Cup still played, man, because obviously I'm an Arsenal fan. It's a bit selfish. If you're Arsenal United, you've won it a lot of times. Obviously, again, I don't know how it would be played and how you'd fit this, but a lot of the smaller teams, man, it means a lot to them. If they draw, I don't know, let's just say a non-league team goes a fairly decent way and they draw Liverpool at Anfield, that's a great thing for the travelling fans. That's a great thing for some of these non-league, lower league footballers who might, you know, no disrespect, if Liverpool's to play this non-league team, they won't remember that. Van Dijk and these men that have won these trophies, they're not going to remember that. But these non-league footballers, that might be the highlight of their careers. That might be the tale they tell their grandsons, or grandchildren. That's a lovely day out for them. Not to mention the financial rewards, particularly if the game is played at home, gate receipts and things, and just staying in the FA Cup can be a nice little earner for teams. And it's just lovely to see these teams get a bit of spotlight. So I wouldn't like it to, but if it couldn't be donated and given to relevant parties, then I can't disagree with that. But I would like everything to still be played. If anything's got to be scrapped, I think it should be the League Cup, because I do think people can do without it. I think the FA Cup, the leagues, they've got to stay, man. That's real tradition. Moving forward, though, Planet X has asked, another consistent supporter and viewer of Deluded. You have said, what's your all-time favourite footballers 11? He said, I can guess Ronaldinho, Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, Vieira, Alves, Ashley Cole, but who are the rest? That's a tough one, my guy, and it's not necessarily them, you know, because there's R9, there's Zidane, you know. There's better, man. You put me on the stage, there's Xavi, there's Iniesta, there's Lionel Messi, there's Neymar, there's Kaká, there's better, man. This is a tough one for this 11 thing, my guy. But let's try, man. Let me try. In goal, it's actually a toss-up between probably Petr Cech in his prime at Chelsea and Van der Sar of United. You know, like big up Seaman and that. But I think them two there were just quality. And there's always Buffon as well historically. Or Iker Casillas. It's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Van der Sar. You know. Nah, I'm going to go with Iker Casillas. I'm going to go with Casillas. Centre halves. Tony Adams, Sol Campbell. Ashley Cole at left back. Dani Alves at right back. In midfield, Patrick Vieira. Patrick Vieira. People. You know what? Patrick Vieira, Xavi. Iniesta. No. Xavi and Iniesta come as a pair, so it's Xavi / Iniesta. That you can't separate them. I'm gonna say Xavi, Patrick Vieira, Ronaldinho in the 10, Thierry Henry up front. Fact, move it. Kaká at 10, Ronaldinho on the right, Thierry Henry through the middle. I'm actually going to go with Neymar on the left, to be fair with you. In fact, nah, man, we've got to get R9. R9 up front, Henry on the left, Ronaldinho on the right. That'll be it, man. That's a tough one, whittling it down to 11 players, man. Marcelo could have got a look in there as well, my guy. Jimmy Conway said, what's your opinion on Daniel Yorker, I can never say his name, from the under 18/23s? Can he make it at Arsenal? Well, if he can make it at Arsenal, that surely lies on him. I don't know, my guy. It's down to him to work hard. It's down to him to impress the coach and stuff. He's had a season disrupted a bit with injury. I do think his positioning's a bit raw and things, so I don't think he's ready or going to be ready in the near future, but he does have a chance. I like him a lot. He's fairly quick, he's strong, he can offer something going forward. He will need to improve his concentration and positioning and stay fit to have half a chance. He previously has played further forward as well. And you've obviously got Brooke from the under-16s to come as well, who's a decent fullback. So we'll have to see. Thomas said, if you could experience one full Arsenal match that you're either too young to remember, or from before you were born, which match would it be? I'm a 97 baby, so I'd have to go with winning the title at Old Trafford or the 79 final. I'd say Anfield, man. It must have been lovely to win it at the death at Anfield in whatever year that was. I can't remember, but shout out to who was there. I'd say that. Probably that. Anything to do with George Graham and getting into finals, I would have really loved to have been a part of that. Well, comprehend that. No, maybe not so much matches, but I would have loved to have been, because when I was born and comprehending football, basically Ian Wright's career was done. Basically, it weren't him in his Arsenal prime. I mean, I would have loved to have seen. Obviously, I saw everything Thierry Henry had to offer, but I would have loved to have potentially seen Ian Wright in his prime, if not in his prime, when I could of age to fully comprehend football to a degree like I do now. I would say to a degree Bergkamp as well, because I didn't necessarily get to see Bergkamp in his prime. His career was winding down. He was an amazing player, but I would have loved to have seen when Bergkamp was the main man sort of thing. Not that he's ever been displayed. So I'd say it's more so players. I would have loved to have seen Overmars a bit in his prime as well. It's more, I would have liked to have really enjoyed and comprehended players. My guy Tom, man, and people listening. I think that's the Twitter question. So as usual, big up yourself for them questions, my guy. People, it means a lot, whoever you are, wherever you're asking these questions. And all of them names that I've just answered, you lot are always here asking questions. So like I said, man, thank you for the consistent Deluded support. Without you lot, it's a myth. More or less the same question. Brian Griffin has said, being born in 2000, oh, that's tight. I was either too young to really appreciate our glory days in the early 2000s, as well as some of the great players from that time. Is there any particular players from previous eras like Rocastle you'd like to have been around for to witness? I kind of indirectly, accidentally answered this question, but Rocastle's one, Ian Wright's one, Tony Adams one, Dennis Bergkamp is one, Liam Brady is one, Kenny Sampson is one. I think I've covered it all, really. I'd say them, to be fair with you. Them sort of players there, really. Rocastle, really high up the list as well. I'd say more of them, to be fair. I was old enough I was watching Henry, but I would like to be the age I was now watching Henry, so that I could, really appreciate his brilliance, because I knew he was amazing. But it's them ones there, do you get it? So maybe Henry's reaching because I saw him, so let's exclude him. But I've kind of covered that. So love for your question, Brian, man. Faris has said, how are you dealing with staying at home? Hope you're doing well in this time. I miss going outside. Well, I go to my garden, do kick-ups, do gym work, push-ups and that. Obviously, go Sainsbury's and Tesco's. It's the highlight of my day when I can. But generally, it sounds mad, but I watch a lot of prison documentaries and jail documentaries and just the makeup, and it sounds silly, and I think I've said it before. When you're trying to accomplish something like I'm trying to do with building my Deluded brand and obviously breaking into any industry I want, you've got to realise sometimes that, you can get frustrated. You should look far ahead, but you should take every day as it comes. And it sounds silly, and obviously it is what it is, but I really look into the makeup of people serving long sentences in jail to the point where, you know, they've come to peace with it. Like, they know freedom's going to come, but they've come to peace with it. And I'd say these sort of things, they have kept me grounded. It is a test. I don't want to be at home, of course. But I'd say that's kept me grounded. I've just rebuked any feelings of boredness. I've been trying to learn a couple of languages, trying to, you know, do little things to better myself as a person. A lot of reading. Beginning a Netflix series, going to start that. Should really start documenting it, really, and bringing out my reviews of these things. But I'm going to go and watch the Sunderland documentary. I started it, but I didn't complete it. And really just being appreciative, really, my guys. So just the stuff everybody's doing. Apologies for kicking the screen. Well, the camera. Didn't mean to do that. I've lost someone's question. Sorry, people. Yeah, we're back. So that's all I'm doing, Faris, man. You've also said, Deluded, how bad was Holding honestly when he played with the under-23s? From what I heard you saying, he's had a mare. Mare's a bit tough, but he has found it tough at that level. At times he's made mistakes. He's still trying to get back fully fit. Anything I've said in any videos, I believe, has been fair. He has looked a yard off the pace. So I think I've kind of answered this question in whatever video I did specifically. So I hope, you know, if you want more of my thoughts, just please revisit where you saw that from. Papyrus said, if Arsenal had Alexis and Aubameyang together, who would you play in their standard roles? Or Alexis false 9 with Aubameyang drifting from wide? Do you know what? I'd let them, similar to what I want to see Martinelli and Aubameyang do, I'd let them rotate, but primarily I would play. I know Alexis was different and was a false 9, and there is a case to actually play him behind of sorts to a degree behind Aubameyang, but I would go Alexis on the left hand side, Aubameyang through the middle, and whatever on the right hand side. Joshua said, how do you think we're going to recover from the corona outbreak in the Premier League, or do we move on and let Liverpool win? My guy, I don't know. I think Liverpool should be given the title, but I don't know. I don't know. It's up for the people at the top. I don't know. The more we kind of go with this silence, I do think we're moving towards the league being cancelled, but I don't know. This situation could get better in May and then we can get going again. I hope it does, really, because I'm tired of being at home, really. But I don't have a Scooby clue, people. Scooby-Doo, really. I don't have a clue. I don't know, man. I'm waiting like you lot to see what's happening. So, I wish I had an answer, but I don't know. Marble Halls has said, is Holding really up to it? Should Arsenal get players to take pay cuts like Barcelona is doing? Well, you got bare questions. I think Holding's up to it if he plays games and can improve. Should Arsenal get players to take pay cuts? They already pay 45% tax. They already are giving out a lot and doing a lot of charity work. I'm not saying they can't give up more. I'm not saying anything, but I think what would be better is if people really misdirected their energy at these clubs who make a lot of profit and haven't been put in necessary reserves, exploiting government initiatives, and their owners are typically billionaires living in the Bahamas, people. I think footballers, because nobody sees owners like that, everyone sees players that gets at them. And you have seen players, I don't necessarily agree with a pay cut, but, you know, I do think something more can be done for people. I've offered my thoughts on this extensively, so I'm not going to get into it again. People can think what they want. You said, are you going to be on the Blood Brothers with Curtis and AFTVFC? I mean, if I'm asked, I will, but for now, nobody's asked me nothing. You know, nobody's asked nothing of me, so no. I ain't gonna beg no for it, but not that it is what it is. Shout out to them, but I ain't been asked, so I'm not gonna fast up myself in places that I wasn't summoned for. It don't make sense. But moving away from that, love for all the questions so far. It's G Med said, talking about finishing the league, do you think players would like to play in this type of situation where everyone is a suspect of the virus? Well, if I was a footballer, I wouldn't want to put my health on the line. I hear all of this stuff about behind closed doors, but if they played behind closed doors games tomorrow and said we're getting together tomorrow to start again, I would be a bit scared, because yes, the testing in England right now hasn't been up to standard, hasn't been testing properly, really and truly. We don't know how really to combat this virus. Some people are rightly so returning to health, but a lot of people are dying. You're hearing footballers that get, you know, insurance to cover their legs in the event of injury. It's not covered by the coronavirus. So if you sadly lose your life or have to end your career in an extreme case due to this, you might not get a payout. Plus, You know, you're still going to be behind closed doors is one thing. There's still going to be a referee who's had to travel to the ground or whatever and do what he needs to do. There's going to be linesmen and all of these sort of things. There's still going to be 22 sets of players spitting on the floor, slide tackling along, spit, touching each other's faces at times, incidentally or accidentally, touching a ball, and then players are going to touch their face to wipe their sweat and them thing there. There's still going to be cameramen who, again, congregating into an area. I would be very nervous. And I don't have all the answers, but it needs to be fine-tuned, or I wouldn't want to risk it. I'd want to get back to playing football, but these footballers need to think, most of them have a family, have a young family. They need to think about what they're doing. Especially because some people don't always show symptoms, and I don't want to say it's a new, because I think this has been around before, but I'm not a doctor. It's almost, to me anyway, to an honest person, it looks like a new disease. So if it's a new disease or a new virus and you don't know how to combat it, why would you force yourself and get involved and be in places where, you know, you're at risk? It don't make no sense, in my opinion anyways. Martin has said, which is the best transfer strategy that Arsenal can employ? Using Raul Sane's contact list or proper analytical scouting, and which is better equipped to solve our long-term problems? Well, obviously, from a long-term point of view, it would obviously be a more analytical process together with the eye, because too many stats doesn't paint a picture. The eyes needs to be, you know, if you see someone that's good with your eyes, you need to look at their stats. Is there an underlying injury they have? Is there a common theme? If they're a striker, what's their least productive months? Is there patterns in their goal scoring? Okay, is he up to standard with what I've seen with my eyes and what the stats is telling me? Do I go for him? Because it's all about more. All it is about it's just about more confidence checks, because every signing's a risk. But the more due diligence you do, you know, if you marry it with your eyes, you marry it with with the analytics, you get a couple of people to watch a player in different circumstances and report different findings. It helps you paint a better picture. You paint a better picture, you have more of a confidence, and they both can be utilised. Obviously, long term, analytical, thought through sort of scouting where we're setting people up in regions is better than relying on a man's contact book, because that's kind of dangerous. But they should be utilised best. They should be 50-50 really. Our mandate should be trying to do what Dortmund is doing with getting these players to a degree before they break out, and whether that gives us money profit wise and allows us to reinvest, or players for now and the future, that's great. But you can use that in an ideal world, but also it'd be silly if you used in the right way. It wouldn't make sense not to exploit someone like Raul Sane's contact lookbooks in regards to the relations he has with players that can help us sometimes be put onto players. You know, it's funny. People always think sometimes scouting is not a case of a million scouts looking in every neighbourhood. Sometimes it's literally, Raul Sane might know a coach or a former colleague. They might go, listen, I got this guy in Brazil, blah, blah, blah. Come and check him out. You come check him out. That's what happens, people. You'd be funny. It's not always a mad thing how people are signed. So I'd say in an ideal world, first and foremost, you'd have a clear strategy of what you want to do, and you marry the both together. That would be me anyways. Anthony's asked, yo DG, big up yourself, thank you. You said the transfer kitty will undoubtedly be quite low. So what players do you think we can get at a low price? Well, Szoboszlai, Sangra, and Ndika, the three that comes to mind based on their reported fees, have not been too much. Omar's asked, top 5 could have been players at Arsenal in your opinion. Well, it's got to be Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Again, the whole could have is different, but you've seen Ronaldo literally in the office and you hearing how close he got. He actually got close to Liverpool as well. Lionel Messi never wanted to come, allegedly, when we tried to get Cesc, but, you know, if that happened, that could have been decent. Zlatan Ibrahimovic could have been a baller. You're hearing Seedorf could have been one. Yaya Toure. You know, there's a Griezmann. There's a bag of players, people. Bag of players, but I'd say them to be fair with you. I'd say them, man. There's bare players, man. There's enough players that probably I'm missing out and whatnot. Harry Kane, obviously slipped through the net. Yeah, man. There's bare, man. And there's hella man that I never said. Kante, like, there's bare, man. Is what it is, man. Vivian has said, could Buendia of Norwich City become an Ozil replacement? I think they're slightly different players, but I wouldn't mind Buendia. To be fair, he's a decent player. DS Boss has said, what do you think of the idea of Saka going into right back to improve our right hand side play while Tierney slots into left back? No, I think Saka actually for England's under youth level has played right back a couple of times, and one of the first times I saw him play for Arsenal was actually at full back on the right hand side. But no, man, no, I'm not really feeling that. If he's going to play anywhere on the right hand side, play him on the right wing. I think Saka will you know, cut his teeth on the right hand side and give us a performance. But no, man, I think that one's just forcing it, my guy. Bongania said, do you think Xhaka will be an Arsenal player next season? Well, based on how Arteta is using him, and we've put that stuff to bed, people, I would say yes. Nico is, sorry, 9EG has said, I've seen your vid on Grealish, but if you could take him or Maddison, who would you take? I wouldn't mind either one. I'd say Grealish is more my sort of player in theory, but I would go for Maddison. He's a couple of years younger. Nico has said, how are you coping with the Conved thing, and what should we, your followers, look forward to in terms of up-and-coming content? Also, what's your favourite lockdown meal? Cheers from Switzerland. Keep safe, my G. Thank you very much. In relation to lockdown meal, just to say, like, I'm just cooking the same things, man. I'm cooking the same chicken and rice. Like, it's the same, the curry goat, the same things I'm cooking. Like, I've still got access to supermarkets, so I'm still cooking the same things, my guy. So I'd say that really, same stuff, really and truly. In terms of upcoming content, I don't want to sell no dreams because, you know, I'm doing this off the cuff. I don't know, man. I'm trying to get a lot of collaborations going, a lot more of the Zoom stuff you see, like you've seen. I've invited a bunch of my friends. Then I did a separate one with another friend of Spurs. Did one with, you know, a journalist, and I did one with Curtis. So if you ain't checked any of them out, go and check them things out there, people. Smile Pleaser said, what's your opinion on Joseph Govando, I can't say that name, as a signing for Arsenal next season? Big up yourself, love the channel, stay safe, my G. Thank you very much for your praise. That's someone who, with the coronavirus, I can go and do my research on, because I don't know. I'm never going to sit here and lie and look like an idiot. I don't know for that guy. That's one player I don't know. So yeah, I'll never pretend. So yeah, man, thanks for that. Moving away from that though, Samuel said, why do you think we aren't linked so much to Zachariah and Dominic Szoboszlai? Do you think Zachariah is more needed than an Upamecano? Nope, because I think central midfield in terms of Zachariah's skill set and also in defence are two equal positions of importance to me, because I really want to fix the spine of this team. I want us to go into next season, whenever that is in an ideal world, with confidence with that back four in front of Leno, and confidence in that collective back five, including Leno's unit. I want to have confidence in all our midfield options and the spine. I don't think we're quite as dynamic as we could be. And I think, yeah, man, I think Szoboszlai is what's needed as well. Different skill set to Zachariah, but I think both of them, if not them players by name, you know, someone who can break lines, someone who's a bit more combative and a bit more, you know, box to box is required as much as a centre half, because the spine of the team, where we might lose the spine. Because could you imagine if, I don't know if Aubameyang's going to sign a new deal, but centre half comes in, a midfielder or two comes in, we've got a stable defence, we've got a decent midfield, you've got Aubameyang 20 league goals, assuming he stays minimum. That's a healthy spine of the team for me. That's something I can look and be confident in. I'm not really confident in our team right now, beyond my support for the club. Bowie the Cat has said, with it seemingly obvious that Ozil is going to run down his 350 per week contract until it ends, how do you think Arsenal and Arteta should deal with this situation? Hope you and your family are staying safe, bro. Thank you very much. They are. Everyone's got their health and equally the same. And there's not much they can do. They can freeze the man out. They can do what they want. But like you said, he's got a year left. It's going to be a pricey operation, if not for transfer fee purposes, the wages for any club to take on. So he's just chilling. I'm not saying Ozil doesn't want to play, but it's, you know, it's almost more likely to, you might as well just use him for the last year rather than have him sitting on the bench and all of this outgoing stuff. Arteta seems to like him. He seems to recognise that, you know, I can't really let Ozil last 90 minutes, and there might be some games he's not utilised for, but he might utilise him, especially if we can't get that creative midfielder, that, for want of better term, 10, or someone that can do this thing. He might ride with Ozil and or Mkhitaryan and Emil and Joe and really for a year. And I do think the creative spot needs to be fixed up, because I said Joe Willock. I don't believe Joe Willock's a 10. I think he's got strengths for this club to be in the pivot, but he's used there, so I'm going to judge him on that. Emil Smith-Rowe, clearly Arteta didn't think he was ready. He's gone to Huddersfield. Prior to this corona thing, he's playing well. Mkhitaryan and Ozil, big wages, you know, careers winding down, same contract length. That's 4 players he could potentially use in that role. So just by looking at numbers, could it be wiser to address other areas and leave that for a year? I think we need to address that, but it's unrealistic for me anyways to think we're going to bring in everyone I would like to have, or if not necessarily name the player. So they have to just utilise him if he doesn't want to move on. You've heard his agent come out and say he's comfy here, so it's all good. Faris has said, what's grassroots football? Oh, I say that term a lot. How do I explain grassroots football? It's just like, you know, football at this, like park football, you know, kids playing league football, men's football who isn't professional. Just, I beg someone in the comments explain that one a bit better. Just grassroots football. Just not academy or professional and them things there. Just mainly for leisure. I don't really know how to explain it, my guy. Philip has said, do you think Martinelli and Leno will be at Arsenal next season? I hope so, so I'm going to say yes. Big Cent has said, best 15, 16 and 17-year-old in your opinion. In what way? I think that's tough, man. Like, I don't know. Let's leave 15-year-olds. I'm not going to get involved in that. 16-year-olds for me is probably, I think, is Jude Bellingham still 16 or has he turned 17? Bellingham's either 16 or 17. Bellingham is going to have that. I really rate Charlie Patino as well, which he should be 15, 16 as well. So yeah, man, that's as best as I can answer your question. 1-1's got a couple of, well, you went hard with the questions. Let's go. You said, have you ever experienced racism in football, watching a match or on the field? I haven't experienced it watching it. On the pitch, I would say kind of. We played a team called Thurrock, and we used to always play them, and you definitely felt a bit of animosity because it was, you know, kids from inner city London, these possessions guys, both going for the leagues, and it did get a bit feisty, and there was a couple slide comments going back and forth. So I'd say that, man, definitely. Or when you played like Tilbury and stuff, there's a couple teams you knew what you was in for, and you know, a couple teams you would leave a bit more on a man because you knew they were getting like that. So probably that. You said, who's the worst player you've ever seen in an Arsenal shirt, and who's the worst player in the team in 2020? Not squad, team. Well, squad and team is the same thing, my guy, so I'm not too sure on what you mean by that. But in 2020, collectively, I think the worst in the team's El Nene. Really and truly, I don't see what El Nene brings to the table in any capacity. Even the others that I criticise, I just don't see. And if you was to ask me to name El Nene's strengths, and he's a nice guy, but I don't know his strengths. So I'd say that. Worst player in an Arsenal shirt, there's been a lot of duds, man. There's been a lot of duds. But I'm not going to go for a Billy because that's an easy one. I'm going to go for Gallas, you know, purely because he's the one guy that I know he's not the worst footballer to have played for Arsenal, and he was a quality man at Chelsea, quality centre-half, extremely versatile and could fill in at full-back. When he came to Arsenal, he was nothing but a headache, and I don't like the way he really carried on. I've got no nice words really to say for Gallas. So for me, it'd be Gallas. Obviously not on ability, but I'm gonna have to say. You said, what's your best moment when you've played, and what's your best moment as an Arsenal fan? Best moment as an Arsenal fan is any title we've won in primary school, so Invincibles, etc., etc. Away from that, I'd say ending our trophy drought in 2014. Worst moment as an Arsenal fan, probably when we lost to Bradford, or the 10-2 against Thingy. Really, I was so frazzled, I don't even know now. Bayern Munich. Actually say when Wenger stepped down as well, you know, purely because, you know, he needed to step down. We all acknowledged that, but it's sad to see, man. Like, it's sad to see, man. Someone I've admired and it really gave me a lesson always to leave things before it leaves you. Like, don't overstay sort of thing. So I'd probably say that. Maybe losing to Birmingham in the Carling Cup final. Just any 8-2 against Man United. Champions League ties against Man United when Ronaldo scored that banger from Almunia. In fact, Almunia's been one of the worst as well, man. He was shit, for pardon my language. So yeah, man. Best moment I've played, I'd say winning the Enfield Cup with my school, or winning any league title I did with Norseman or Edmonton All-Stars. You also said, are you looking into all possible ways to monetize your channel? Money's not everything, but I'd be an idiot to say, why not? I mean, if it could present me with finances to reinvest it better, then why not? I'm always open, man. To be fair, I don't know how, really. I've looked into it. I mean, we could start memberships. Merchandise took a bit of a hit because of this corona things. So, yeah, any suggestions you got, keep on coming, my guy. Yeah, you said as well, which player do you think didn't earn the international caps that their ability warranted? Oh, that's a tough one. I was thinking about that yesterday. You put me on the spot, my guy, man. I have to come back to that. You put me on the spot, but there's a couple, man. There's a couple still. We got to come back to that one, man. We got to revisit that one next week, but there's a couple. Oh, who's coming to mind? Ian Wright. without a doubt. Prior to this season, Lacazette for France, definitely think he should have got more of a look in. But there's been older players that have been thinking about this before. And when you know the ones there, you're put on the spot. So that's a good question, but I'm going to have to go with what I've just said, really and truly. You also said, if you could put one legend in this current team, who would you put? For me, Vieira. You said, for me, Xhaka out, Vieira in. I'd give you 3. In fact, I'll say 4. I'll say 4 players, yeah. 4 players. In fact, 5. 5 players, yeah. I'll say Lauren at right back for Bellerin, because I just feel we need someone that can just do their job, or even Sagna will do. I'd say midfield, I agree. Vieira for somebody. I think, obviously, Thierry Henry's Thierry Henry. I mean, could you imagine Aubameyang and Thierry Henry together? But definitely with with Aubameyang's contract, I'd say Thierry Henry. And I'd say either or Tony Adams or Sol Campbell, because look at our defence. I think with Sol Campbell, no one can tell me he was not a world-class defender and one of the, if not best in the world at one period during his Arsenal career. Tony Adams is Tony Adams. I've previously answered a question talking about spine and stuff like that. And I think these players kind of help with that. So I'd probably say them names there. You said, and which player would you say is the biggest waste of talent? Right now, I'd say Ravel Morrison. I'd say Charlie Masonda. Because I think Ravel Morrison could have been a United poster boy, really and truly. I think he had it all. So, yeah. I think that's it. I don't think I have any other questions, my guys. I think you lot have come hard enough and that's the questions done. But for now, people, it's always a pleasure. Deluded, I'm out.